What is going on, YouTube? This is Marcel and welcome back to another F1 Esports onboard video, and today we are in Silverstone. Yeah, Kiefer Stone, my favorite track, and as you can see, it's not looking really great. We haven't qualified well, and that was the biggest issue. Our teammate Frederick did an insane job. Everyone, I think, started on the mediums. I don't think there has been a single soft runner. This is actually crazy to think about. Like, nobody else started on a different compound. Everyone was on the same strategy, and you just had to work around what's going on with undercuts, overcuts, and so on and so on. And yeah, so this track is notorious for having a limited amount of racing just because it's really hard to get close. And with the DRS train, everyone has a lot of ERS. So qualifying is key. And unfortunately, I messed up my final lap in Q3. Whole qualifying was perfect. I was P1 in Q1, Freddy P2. I was P1 in Q2, Freddy P2. And Q3, I was P7 because I locked up in turn 3 and Brooklands, and that cost me around 1.5 to 2 tenths. I think it was more like 1.5. 2 tenths would be crazy. But yeah, anyways, it was a bad mess up. It was all down to me. I messed up. This is the track where we actually had the most insane setup the whole season. I think it's the only time where we actually nailed the setup, which was a positive. But then unfortunately I messed up, so that hurt a lot. And I knew I should have qualified better, and yeah, probably on pole. Because my pace was crazy. I had a crazy PB, was nearly a tenth quicker than even Freddy, and that is a lot. I mean, this is my favorite track, of course. But Freddy is probably the most insane driver over one lap, and having that kind of gap is something. It wasn't a full tenth, it was more like 0.075, something like that. But it's close to, in esports, that's a lot of time. And I was consistently on it on this track. So, really unfortunate. I nailed it in Q1, Q2, and Q3 wasn't the one, but let's jump into it. Let's see if we can get a good start. To at least make up for our terrible qualifying. And we actually just have a fairly average start. We get a tiny bit better way than Yoni. Danny Moreno had a great one, but anyone else around us, we have Brendan Lee behind us. We have to watch out probably for Brendan for making a move. So we cover off the inside a bit. Danny is not picking a wise racing line here. You can see that he's actually going onto the curb and losing out a position to Yoni by the looks of it. But we are trying to go around the outside to get a better exit. We get a little bit of oversteer, and with that, it's kind of settled already for this straight. We're not gonna get any moves done. In the background, you can see one of the Alpines, Fabrizio, making a move on Josh Idowu, but Josh is holding back amazingly. Great stuff, great defensive work, sticking it around the outside of Brooklands, which turns into the inside of Lovefield. Smart stuff from Josh there. Freddy is still leading the race, which is good. And we are trying to keep up and get a run on Yoni. We actually usually get a better run than most people out of Cops. That's the corner where Max and Lewis crashed, in case you didn't know. But we're just a bit too far away right now, 2.5 tenths without ERS and without a gap in front. It's just not worth spamming your ERS. But you can see everything's super close. We're kind of more or less within 2 seconds of Freddy, who's the leader, and look how close this is. Lucas Blakely 2 tenths off from Bari. We have 3 tenths off from Yoni, 3 tenths him to Moreno. Everything's super tight, and we are, of course, in this race trying to make up as much as we can, as much damage limitation as possible. We have 18 laps to do so, and now it's 17 remaining. But at this stage, unfortunately, not much is happening. We're trying to, of course, make sure Brandon stays behind us, and we might slip through on Yoni's inside, but it will be tricky. So we're just playing the patient game, hoping to see some errors get past, if we can. Because that's usually the most important thing. You have to stay close, have to put on the pressure, and maybe the guy ahead of you, look at the speed that we carry on the exit through this corner. We usually make up time there, you can see it on the delta. Tiny bit of time, this was not the perfect one, but we pull away from Brandon and we gain a bit of time on the guys ahead. But we didn't carry as much speed as we should have into Cops. Now it's more or less 3.5 tenths, using I think a tiny bit of ERS just to keep that gap. Maybe someone makes a mistake. Like I said, we're trying to keep on the pressure on Yoni and everyone else. So if someone makes a mistake, we might benefit. But that's the thing. And Silverstone, because it's so hard to overtake, you haven't seen a single overtake here, aside from maybe at the start. But on Silverstone, you really want to try and stay close, stay tight, force them, put pressure on them. Maybe, even if you're close enough, they might forget to close the gap and you can go for it, but it's really unlikely. The main thing you want to do is try and push them into arrows. That's like the most important part of Silverstone and what you have to look out for. So Fred is still holding the pace, but now DRS is of course activated. You can also see that in our rear mirror. Yoni also had, all of these guys had DRS. What am I talking about? Literally everyone is having DRS, I think. I think only Simon, Fabrizio, Philip and Alvaro not, because they have a huge gap to P16. I don't know what happened there. I totally missed out on that. Sorry for that. Look at the speed that we carry through here. We are actually gaining a tiny bit of time here, losing a bit again because I think Yoni might have used a bit of ERS to push, like he's so close to Moreno, and we're just playing the patient game. I don't think we're using any ERS here. The others are definitely, because they're pulling away on the straight. Waiting. Being smart about what we're doing, and already 2 people are pitting. That is Nicolas Longway and Barry Borman. That is, in my opinion, way too early for the strike. Of course they're getting an undercut now and they will be ahead of Freddy. But the thing is, if it's not a big enough gap, then Freddy will just catch up to them again at the end. And they will have worse tires. So they're now P14 and P15. They have a decent gap to Cedric, which is important. So they can push in clean air. I guess that was the main thing. Sebastian Job right behind. Might help him out a tiny bit. But yeah, I don't think that's a smart strategy. Pitting lap 3, especially with the DRS, they can just chill behind. You know, they can go technically 1 lap longer because they have more ERS than Freddy. And have fresher tires, or try and manage the guys behind, make Freddy push, or push them when they see someone coming in. But I think that was too early and probably will ruin their whole race strategy, because they won't just have enough grip left. They are safe probably in the positions where they are, but they are probably not gonna win this race, which in the end you want to win all the time, right? If you can, and they were in a good position, P2, P3 I think. Now they are technically throwing it away and giving Lucas Blakely and Danny Moreno an opportunity with DRS to catch up. Now they have to make up this non-DRS which Longway has. And Longway now has to use all of his ERS. But we are also pitting, reacting to that, because we are further back. Like, we are further back and the softs last long, so you want to come in earlier. There's a pit window, probably, if perfect, I think it's lap 5 to lap 8, something like that. Not entirely sure. But we are pitting because we want to get a slight undercut. And we will see if that works. Of course, we are now also giving up to Yoni and these guys, because Yoni can now catch up with the DRS again. And yeah, so let's have a look. We're not speeding, which is already crucial. Let's skip the pit lane part because it's quite boring. A lot of people are pitting. I don't think we got held there. I'm not sure. I don't think so. And now important is to actually get some ERS. But look at this. Like I said, Danny Moreno actually makes the overcut on Barry Borman, which is really unfortunate for Barry. So, like I said, also what I tried to do, I think we might not have DRS. Yeah, we definitely don't have. So actually it was again the wrong window to come in. We had to try something because I was so far back, but it was not the right idea and not the right choice. So we're gonna lose out now a bit of time. We have to spam our ERS, but we are fortunately on 100% ERS. But the thing is, Danny Moreno is now also pushing to maybe get a move done on Longway. They didn't gain anything. They actually mainly lost out. You can see we are pushing like crazy, but we are managing to get within the DRS window, which is big. Barry made some mistake. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, it helped us out, so we are back within the DRS window. Now Freddy is also pitting, lap 5, so kind of like the medium and soft on this track are fairly similar. They are a bit better, the softs, and you should stay longer on softs than on mediums. But that's why you can actually make the overcut work, and that's how I also won in 2019. This time I tried the undercut, and let's see if it pays off. In the first part it didn't pay off because we didn't have the DRS. Let's see, where are we coming out? We are coming out ahead of Joni Tomala, so we actually made up a position, which is good. And we are now on track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We made up one position, so it worked in some way. Joni lost out more, probably didn't get the DRS from Lucas Blakely. I'm not sure, I didn't pay attention to that, but I would explain it. And Brandon actually also undercut him. So we made up one position, which is good, but it should have been more. Was hoping for a tiny bit more at least. But to be honest, there was not really much, because Moreno actually had a perfect window to come in, because now he is also ahead of Nicolas Longue. So he went from, I think, P4 to P2, if I'm not wrong. And he also jumped Lucas Blakely. Yeah, he was probably P5 then. P5 or P6, something like that. So he made up big positions there with the overcut on Longue and Barry, but they definitely came in way too early. You can already see what I mean. Longue way too early with Barry. Longue is P3 again, before he was P2, and Barry is, I think, was P3 and is now in P5. So some others are pitting now. I think Jan is staying out super long to try an alternative strategy, and Lucas Blakely's trying a move here. Of course, has to be careful because he might lose out a position in the fight, and he's fighting for the championship at that point. But we have much better race pace than Barry. You can see we are 2.5 tenths. It's so close, and we are of course trying. We only have 43% ERS right now because we had to make up some time earlier. But it's looking good. It's looking good. So we are of course pushing as much as we can, trying to force him into mistakes. Like I said earlier, that's still the key on this track. Our strategy might not have been optimal, but I think it was the safest in the moment where we were. Initially we messed it up because I didn't have DRS, but I made up for it with my outlap. So it kind of worked out because we were ahead of Joni. That's a good thing. So we are +1 position compared to, or -1 position compared to the start, which is important for the team championship, and also of course the drivers. I was also in the mix for that. And we are super close. Trying something here. Ari leaves enough room. We were just a bit too far, but you can see we're trying to get this here done, and he's also leaving enough of a gap. Look, this is perfectly fine. This is literally perfect, and I wasn't even side by side with him at this point. Like, I was just trying to maybe make him open up the gap. I wasn't at the side pod, so he could have technically closed the door if he wanted to. But I was awesome racing, so I was close. Of course, now trying with ERS again. Like I said, I'm forcing him into little mistakes, trying something. Just small things here, getting a bit wider to maybe get a better exit, which also worked. You can see we're gaining time, we're gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. We're using our ERS, and it's close, but we still are way too far away from Barry. But Barry is struggling big time. He's 5 tenths ahead from Lucas Blakely, and only if they are kind of fighting a tiny bit or someone ahead is making a mistake, he's getting time back. He's now 4.5 tenths again. We are with 40% ERS. Let's quickly pause this and have a look at Barry's ERS level. Where is it? He's on 55, so he has definitely more. Let's check maybe also the others around. Luke is on 73, awesome. Longue more or less like we did, and Moreno on 79, Freddy on 53, so also like we did. Let's have a look at Brandon behind, also crucial, and he's on 40, no, that's Tunitsa. Joni on 73, Brandon on 95, so he's saving a lot just to make sure if he can attack, because he probably knew that his race pace on this track with the setup wasn't enough to really go side by side all the time. So he was just waiting for these moments where he can spam it and then has the advantage over people like, for example, right now me, where I only have 50 because I'm focusing fully on making progress forward. Whilst he's just waiting and waiting, and he can just use it right here, for example, while else cannot to make something possible. But look at right ahead, I think, is it Moreno? Moreno tried to go for a move, and Nicolas Lonke smelled an opportunity, goes for it, but it's not working out. And now Lucas Blakely is trying to go around the outside. Let's see how this is going. He's going for the switchback, and it's not working out. Unfortunate for Lucas, but it was some nice battling, and that's what I mean. It's so hard to overtake on Silverstone. You're just trying to take opportunities, force others, make some small errors and mistakes, so you can benefit from them. Blakely is so close. He's never really going for anything there. Let's see. We are trying again, going a bit wider to focus a bit more on the exit. And that's the moment that we were waiting for. This is exactly what we need. And Barry is gonna cover the outside, not the insides, which is smart for the next corner. So we are side by side and we just leave him perfectly. Enough space. Look at this. This is perfect racing. And here, Barry is quite cheeky. I mean, I don't know. He's technically allowed to do that, but that is not his normal racing line. He's clearly accelerating a bit to push me wide. And with that also forcing me really wide, which forces me then onto the curb and onto the gravel. And he even touches me again with that because of the damage model. And I lose a position to Brandon. I mean, I think by rules, it's smart. Like, he can do it. It might have not been the cleanest move, but I think by the rules, he was entitled to do so. So we lost our position again, which was really frustrating. Luckily, we kept our front wing. And now we are, of course, behind Brandon, and he has so much ERS, he can just like pull away. And we're trying. But yeah, really unfortunate. I think the battle was great. And you could see we could go for a move when Barry made a mistake. And that proved my point. Brandon already trying to search for opportunities now. And now we are, of course, trying to get this position back. Unfortunate. But it is what it is. So we had Yoni again behind us. Yoni was the biggest loser of the race. I think he lost around 2 positions so far. Jano's still out. And we have to hope that the guys ahead are fighting just so we can make sure that we get maybe some opportunity to slip through because everyone's slowing down too much. We have so much straight line speed. Without ERS, we probably have the most straight line speed off the grid. We're just hoping that something is happening. Staying close again, same game as before, and it's frustrating. I was really frustrated. I also, in the heat of the moment, I of course wanted Barry to get a penalty, but looking back at it, it was cheeky, but it was fair. And sometimes you have to do that, especially if you're Barry and you don't want to lose the position. Was actually smart racecraft. I wouldn't call it dirty or anything. In case I did, then I made a mistake there. I don't think I did. But yeah, also Moreno is now going for the lead. He's ahead of Freddy and Lucas behind. So Lucas also, I didn't even pay attention to that. Lucas made his way through past Nicolas. So as you can see, Barry and Nicolas in the worst position. They have 1 lap older tires, 2 laps compared to the guys ahead. It just didn't pay off. That strategy was just wrong and they knew it. I was surprised that I pit lap 3 because there's no real benefit to it. Lap 4, lap 5 to cover off the overcut or undercut or whatever, it was probably perfect. And now we made a small error on the exit curve, but it was enough to cover off Yoni. So yeah, we are hoping and waiting now that we can make some progress. Let's skip a bit through because I don't think there's anything happening right now. Nee, nee, nee. Nee, 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 You can see the Silverstone train, it just never ends. There's not much happening right now. We definitely had some battles still going on with Brandon, so I want to maybe, if we are possible, skip to that point, and if we see anything ahead, we can also slow down and have a look at that. But right now it's literally just managing our ERS. You can see we're back at 74. Let's have a look quickly at Brandon's ERS, because that could be interesting too. Brandon, 76. So we have literally identical ERS. Tiny bit more. Like, he has a bit more than we do, but considering how much he had at the beginning, like at some stage of the race, compared to us, we're just taking different lines, maybe getting a bit better exit, and someone does something so we can carry more speed. And now we are super close to Brandon, and look, we are spamming our ERS, but he is as well. And our straight line speed is just maybe a tiny bit faster. We are trying to fake him into a move, and he actually falls for it, and that opens up another way to go about this. But I don't know. I think, honestly, this year, this is still, I guess, fine. I guess this is just hard on the limit, hard racing. And we couldn't really benefit from the mistake that we forced him into. By him covering off the line, his line was compromised and we could get a better run out of the corner. Now we are just chilling, saving ERS again, and Brandon actually, I don't know what he's doing. Is he actually thinking about going side by side here, or maybe trying to make Barry think that he's going for it and Barry's making a mistake? But Brandon is super close right now and we are just chilling, saving our ERS again, so we have for the next attack. There's no need for us to push. Like, he's too far away. These guys at the front are fighting, he's fighting. We will definitely catch them again just by our own pace. And we get a little off track, but that didn't matter. I think that was the only that we had throughout the entire race. And, oh! Longway hits Blakely and nearly goes for a move. That's not really clean. Now also nearly loses it. And this is what I mean. If the guys ahead are slowing each other down, look how much we're gaining. Nearly half a tenth already. Just by others making mistakes. And now Brandon is going for a move on Barry and it doesn't go, and that's what we need. I'm thinking actually about maybe getting both. Brandon is thinking about it, covering the inside, and with that we couldn't really benefit from it. If they would have been side by side, we would have maybe been able to slip past both of them, which would have been amazing. But it didn't work, unfortunately. Again, trying to go a bit wider to open up for the exit. That didn't really gain us anything. Let's skip a bit forward, see if anything is happening there. What's actually interesting to see, there's a bigger gap between Longway and Blakely forming at the moment. So we are also using a bit of our ERS, but we have still 70, which is enough to properly race. Oh, and Brandon is making mistakes, so we are pushing with our ERS. Brandon doesn't fall for it, but he already covered the inside. Nothing happening. Just trying to set the tone for the rest of the race, that we are definitely gonna go for that move if we can. Let's do a quick little ERS check at this point, just because I think the ERS actually teaches you a lot about what we are doing. Brandon at 76, same with us, I think. Yeah, 80. Tiny bit more than Brandon, but not much. Probably, let's have a look actually. One second. I know this is not the most fun to always switch around, but Longway and Barry. I'd like to look at both of them. 56, 53. You can see they are struggling because they have the worst tires. They need to use their ERS more. This lap. Anything here, we are actually kind of close and we are using our ERS. Brandon is as well, which is good to see because that means we are definitely staying ahead of him with the ERS. Does he do another mistake like the lap before? No, but we get an actual great run out of this corner. We're looking for the inside, going for the outside. Brandon moves under braking. Yeah, he definitely moved under braking there. Like his initial line was to the left, and then you can hear him already decelerating at that point. he moves to the right, which is technically not right and not allowed. That was probably the cheekiest thing that happened here. Anything we can do? Yoni is still not attacking. For lap 17 of lap 18, of 18 laps. Again, not the greatest run. But we know we have to make something possible, especially if we want that position back from Brandon and Barry. Like P5 and P6, because we should have been in P5 by now, definitely. And maybe also on Longer, with how Longer is racing, there would have been some opportunities to go for a move. So P4 was probably likely. Blakely was on fresher tires, so that would have been hard. And Moreno was ahead with the same compound as we did. But we had a great run through Stowe. We turned in a bit too early there. It was unfortunate. So we have to make sure that final lap is everything we give and everything that is still in these tires and the battery left. So we are starting to push already here to maybe have a run on Brendan into turn 3, but he's also using his ERS. We are trying, you can see we're literally on the edge of the tire grip. The limit is set and we are trying to do something. I don't know what we're doing, but we're trying to do something. That's the thing. On Silverstone, you can see it's so hard. It's really hard to overtake. Josh Idowu and David Tunitz are actually fighting hard. And that's opening the gap for Jarno Hoppmer. So Jarno fully benefited from the others fighting, and with that even scored points, and I think even P9 in the end. So yeah. That's what I mean. You just have to look out that the others also do mistakes, but you cannot really control that. You can't just force them into that. And if some others fight, they might lose out because they make contact, and he got past George in that way. Now he's super close with the fresher tires to David, of course, because he pitted super late. And now the final lap, so we are all going in with our ERS. You can see everyone's weaving, and Freddy is going for a move on Dani Moreno in the final lap, and he makes it stick. And that should be move done long way on low ERS. And we are still trying to do something maybe. No, we're just keeping it safe. We're bringing back the team points. Reddy is in P1. We're gaining points on Mercedes, which is important. And Dani Moreno also. I don't think he got overtaken by Blakely. I think that was a bug. Yeah, he was ahead. That was just a glitch. But we are in P7, and it was really, really, really frustrating. Because the pace was great. You also see the race pace was really good. Especially you could see that compared to Bari. Yeah. Strategy, semi-good, not perfect, but it was hard to judge there. Frustrating race, but I think what we also take away from this one here, Silverstone is really, really hard to fight. Your qualifying matters probably more than on any other track. It's kind of like Monaco. You're barely able to overtake. It's a bit better, but it's still not perfect, and you have to use your chances, and the chance is quali, and that sets the tone for the race. So yeah, I hope you could learn something from that. I hope you enjoyed it in an entertainment kind of way. Was still a good race. It was fun to watch. It was a more strategic race. And yeah, in case you liked it, make sure to check out the socials. Hit subscribe, hit like, comment how you liked it, subscribe, and hit the bell, because it really helps me out. I appreciate you all, and thank you for 25k. Massive support the last few days. I think we made over 5k subs in the last 28 days, which is insane to me. Yeah, you guys are the best. Really appreciate you. I will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Peace.